Mabuhay, this is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. My channel is about marriage to a woman from the Philippines, and I like talking about relationship issues. Today will be about how to have, the traits that help you to handle hurt. You're in a relationship and there's hurt and there's repeated hurt. And that is the case when people get married. So rather than have you throw in the towel too early, I think it's important to talk about the traits that people have to survive when they've been hurt multiple times. This comes from Lucas Graham, hackspirit.com. I've mentioned his articles before. And they start out here by saying, this is one of the most challenging paradoxes in life. We've been wronged, hurt, or betrayed by someone we trusted, maybe even loved. We've tried to shield yourself to walls, building walls around our hearts, but it's not working. It's not an easy task, not by a long shot. Yet there's an unshakable intuition within some of us that inspires us to remain trusting and kind despite the wounds we bear. And this is where I'm going to introduce you to 8 remarkable strengths that such people often possess. They say it's a journey of introspection that may just surprise you, showing that that your vulnerability may be your greatest strength after all. And so before I get into these 8 traits, I just wanted to publicly say thank you to the people that are praying for my wife and I, and in our situation. And things have been looking up. And so I need to be resilient. And I didn't get this video because of our relationship at all. It's just that it caught my eye one day and I thought, well, I can't be the only one that needs to think about these things. So please subscribe here, leave a comment to Love Beyond the Sea while I still have 8 minutes. Number 1, they possess an unshakable resilience. People have been hurt, but still manage to trust and be kind, have a remarkable level of resilience. This isn't about being naively optimistic, glossing over the pain they've endured. Rather, they've learned, often through the hardest of circumstances, that getting back up after fall is what truly defines strength. Their resilience isn't about denying the hurt, it's about acknowledging it and choosing to push forward anyway. It's about choosing to remain open and loving, even when doing so feels like the most difficult thing. Number 2, they hold an inherent capacity for empathy. Empathy. And they said through some experience they had, they were able to understand other people's pain and struggles better than before. It was as if their heart had developed a new language, one of compassion and understanding. That's a good way to put it. And they remind us here that people who stay kind and trusting after being hurt often have this heightened sense of empathy. Now, I'll interject here. A lot of people say, well, that's just being a simp. Well, a lot of people just don't get their way and they run off, or they don't hang in there, and the relationship suffers and they end up blaming the other person. We don't want that. Back to the article, they've walked through the fire. They know how it feels. This doesn't make them bitter or cynical. Instead, it deepens their capacity to empathize with others who are struggling. They can sit with someone in their pain because they've been there. That compassion can be a lifeline for those who feel alone in their distress. Number 3, they embrace a mindset of growth. People who remain trusting and kind, even after they've been hurt, often adopt a growth mindset. They see their experiences, no matter how painful, as opportunities to learn and grow. This doesn't mean that they enjoy the pain or they seek it out, but when it comes, they don't let it define them. Instead, they use it as a stepping stone to become better versions of themselves. Their mindset isn't one of defeat, but of transformation. Their past hurts are not shackles that hold them back, but catalysts propelling them forward. Their strength lies not just in the ability to endure pain, but to harness it for their personal growth and development. Number 4, they practice authentic forgiveness. I guess if I had to pick one thing here, this would maybe be my most important one. And they say that they used to think that forgiveness was about letting the other person off the hook. But then they say they discovered a study by the Mayo Clinic that changed their perspective entirely. People who remain trusting and kind despite being hurt have a profound understanding of what true forgiveness is. Forgiveness, in their eyes, is not about condoning what's been done to them. It's about liberating themselves from the burden of resentment that threatens to drag them down. They know that holding on to anger and bitterness is like drinking poison and experiencing the other person to suffer. And they say they choose forgiveness not for the sake of the wrongdoer, but for their own peace and well-being. And as far as forgiveness goes, like I've said here many times in this channel, you forgive because God tells us to forgive, and I really don't need to say any more than that. But I could add that if God forgives us, who are we to not forgive someone else, even if they have hurt us and hurt us a lot? And usually that happens in a marriage because the two people are, so close together, and they have high expectations. Number 5 in people who are strong when they are hurt often is they foster deep self-awareness, it says here. And they explain that with people spending time introspecting, understanding their emotions and reactions. They recognize their triggers and the patterns that lead to them. And this isn't about wallowing in their pain. It's about gaining a deeper understanding of themselves so they can better navigate their emotional landscape. With this self-awareness, they're able to make choices that align with their healing and growth rather than being led by unexamined emotions. They're able to not just know themselves, but to understand themselves, their hurts, their reactions, and their paths to healing. Number 6, they maintain healthy boundaries. And you say here, there was a time in their life they would give endlessly, even to the point of their own detriment. It took a while to realize that being kind and trusting doesn't mean allowing others to overstep his boundaries. People who remain kind and trusting, if I get rid of this pop-up, develop a keen understanding of the importance of healthy boundaries. They understand that saying no is not an act of cruelty, but an act of self-care. They know their limits and they respect them. This doesn't mean that they become closed off or distant. Rather, they create a safe space where their trust and kindness can exist without being exploited. Number 7, they nurture hope. And this would be like for people who are in relationships where things aren't going well and they're being hurt. There's been a lot of misunderstanding. They say here, number 7, they nurture hope. That they've had nights when the hurt was so overwhelming they questioned whether the dawn would ever arrive. But it did, every single time, teaching them the power of hope. This hope is not just wishful thinking. It's a deep-seated belief in the potential for better days, no matter how dark it gets. They have faith in the light of the end of the tunnel. Now, I'll interject that that's something I've tried to do here in our recent struggles. Like I said, things are better. Continuing here, their strength lies in their ability to keep their hopes alive and use it as fuel to keep moving forward. They don't deny the darkness, but they refuse to let it consume them. And number 8, maybe one that undergirds everything, they embody love. They say that they've come to realize that the greatest strength they possess after being hurt is not their resilience, their empathy, or capacity to forgive. It's love. People who remain kind and trusting despite experiencing pain often embody a boundless love. That's why I talk about love so much here on this channel, Love Beyond the Sea. Try to help people understand what it is. It's not always easy, and it's probably best illustrated when times are tough, like we're talking about here. And this love isn't just for others. They talk about it's for themselves too. They understand that their ability to love others is rooted in their ability to love and accept themselves. Now, I just want to break in and say here, I've never fully quite grasped that. I think we love ourselves too much, and we need to learn to love others more. But I'm going to be out of time, so feel free to leave a comment here on Love Beyond the Sea.